What's up guys, I'm Chirag and welcome to part 7 of the tutorial series on Amazon WebSocket API Gateway tutorial. In the previous tutorial, I have taken you through on how to send a message from server to client. And now in this tutorial, we will try to solve the problem that I have mentioned in the previous tutorial. Right, so the problem was that while we were sending the message from server to the connected clients, we have to mention the connection ID manually. In fact, there was no straightforward way to handle the connection ID at that point of time, right? So we are basically trying to solve that problem in this tutorial. So basically in this tutorial, we will configure on connect and disconnect. So basically connect and disconnect root backend integration to store the connection ID within DynamoDB while the connection is opened, and delete the connection ID respectively while the connection is closed or terminated, right? So let's get started. So the very first thing that we are going to do is navigate to DynamoDB. So we are going to use DynamoDB to store connection ID temporarily till the connection is open, right? So once you are within DynamoDB, click on create table. Give a table name. I will say WebSocket probably. Give a partition key. So I will say connection ID, and I will leave rest of the option as it is, and finally say create. So now we have successfully created the table that is WebSocket within DynamoDB, right? So it has a connection ID over here, right? So we are going to use this to store the connection ID. Now once the table is created, go back to API Gateway, click on connect root, and click on the lambda function or the backend integration from the right side. So that is WebSocket Connect in my case. That will open the integrated lambda function. So within this lambda function that is WebSocket Connect, we are going to write a few lines of code that will ideally store the connection ID within DynamoDB, right? So we are going to write the script over here, but before that, click on permission. So here we need to add a permission for DynamoDB for this WebSocket underscore lambda roles. So click on the role name. So it will redirect you to the IAM management console within WebSocket underscore lambda role name, and say attach policies. Search for DynamoDB. Say DynamoDB full access. Or maybe we can select this. Let's see. Or maybe not. So select DynamoDB full access and say attach policy. Now go back to the lambda function that is WebSocket Connect. Click on configuration, navigate to function code. So here we are going to import Boto3 first. Import Boto3. Now here we will define client equal to Boto3.client followed by the service name. So that's going to be DynamoDB, right? And finally we will say client dot put underscore item followed by the table name equal to. So here we will pass the table name that we have just created, that is WebSocket in my case. So I will say table name equal to WebSocket, and what I want to store, so that's going to be item. equal to curly braces, that is a dictionary, item name. So in my case it's connection ID, followed by the key value, that's going to be again a dictionary, that's going to be S, that stands for string, data type probably, right? And finally within that we will pass on the connection ID. So where we will get the connection ID, I think I had covered that in the previous tutorial maybe. So we will get the connection ID from event of request context, right, followed by dot get double quote, followed by connection ID, right, and save this function. So that's it. This will store the connection ID within DynamoDB whenever the connection is open, right? Now go back to API Gateway, click on disconnect route. Now again click on the backend integration, that is lambda function from the right side, that is WebSocket disconnect in my case. So we are going to configure this lambda function to delete the connection ID from the DynamoDB when the connection is closed or terminated, right? So scroll down to function code. Again we are going to use Boto3, so I will say import Boto3. Define a client, maybe I will copy from here. Right, and instead of put item we will say delete item over here, right? So I think this syntax is going to remain same, so copy and paste. Now instead of put item it's going to be delete item, right, followed by the table name, that is WebSocket, followed by the key instead of item. So that's going to be key equal to dictionary, followed by the connection ID, followed by the type, that is string, followed by the value, that's going to be the connection ID that we will get from the event, right? So now we can go ahead and save this function. Let me reload this once. I am just making sure that function is saved correctly. And yes, it is. So now go back to API Gateway, click on stages from the left panel, select the deployment stage, copy the WebSocket URL, copy, go to terminal. Now here we will say ws-get -c followed by the WebSocket URL, say enter. So now the connection is open. Now we can move on to DynamoDB table and check the value for the connection ID if it's there or not, right? So go to DynamoDB, refresh this, and as you can see the connection ID is stored over here, right? Now if I go ahead and open a new terminal and if I execute ws-get -c followed by the WebSocket URL, enter, then we should be having two values over here, right? So as you can see, now we have two values, right? Now if I go ahead and close this connection, say Control C, one value should get deleted. Or it's not, maybe something is wrong with our WebSocket disconnect. So let's see. So click on monitoring, view logs and CloudWatch. So here we are. It says param validation error, missing required parameter and input key. Okay, let's see. Go back to configuration. Oh, it is not saved properly, so it's going to be key over here. Let's save this. Maybe we will close the another connection, close, and one of the values should get deleted, right? So as you can see, it's deleted. So let me delete this too. Click on action, delete, delete. Let's try again. Go back to terminal. Let's connect from both the terminal. And we should have two values within DynamoDB. So now the connection is open and we have the connection ID stored somewhere temporarily, that is within DynamoDB, right? Now if I go ahead and close the connection from both, this ID should get deleted. Now as you can see, all the IDs is deleted, right? So this is how you can manage or handle connection ID for your WebSocket API Gateway using onConnect, or maybe using connect and disconnect route, right? Now apart from this, let's go back to Lambda Management Console and open a Lambda function that we have created in the previous tutorial, right? So I think that is send message, right? Now here, if you remember, then we had defined manual connection ID. We had copied from the terminal and pasted it over here, right? Now instead of this, what we can do is we can command this. We already have Boto3. We can define a DynamoDB client. So I will say Dynamo equal to Boto3.client, followed by the service name that's going to be DynamoDB. Correct. And now on line number 12, we will scan the DynamoDB table, right? So that's going to be response equal to Dynamo dot scan, right? So we are going to scan the table followed by the parameter that is table name, and that's going to be WebSocket in my case, right? So now within this for loop, instead of for connection in connection ID, we will say for connection in response of items, right? So if you are curious, just go ahead and print the response and you will come to know that which all key value pair is coming within the response, and one of the key you will see will be items, right? So that's where response of items I have defined, right? And then within response equal to client dot post to connection, instead of connection we will say connection of connection ID followed by the type, that is S, and save this function. I think we are done. So now we can go ahead and connect from these two terminals, right? And now we have the connection ID within DynamoDB, and we can go back to send message Lambda function and click on test, and then it should be able to fetch the value from the DynamoDB and send the message to the connected clients. As you can see on my screen, we have message from the server saying hello from server on both the connection or both the terminal, right? So basically this is how you can handle the connection ID within WebSocket API, right? So well, that's all I wanted to cover in this tutorial. And till that time, if you want me to do tutorial on any use case or service, then please leave them below and I will try my best to come up with the tutorial as soon as possible. And if you have any queries or comments, then again please leave them below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.